Jeff with Koncept Garage here, bringing you a behind-the-scenes video for a 4-car garage renovation we completed in Westlake back in 2022. Here's what I walked into. A huge space, 4-car garage, 10-foot ceiling, 1,200 square foot. The design intent here was to be able to park 4 cars and facilitate the transition into and out of the home. Very active family, 2 kids. Mike is in real estate, his wife is in medicine, so they need a lot of hired help to maintain the home and don't have a lot of time to do home improvement projects themselves. Most garages I walk into have existing storage systems. Usually it's a hodgepodge, and the reason people call us is either these storage systems have broken down and aren't working anymore for their families, or B, they want to use the space differently. They have a goal and a vision for the space that is different from, some cheap off the shelf storage products. Off the back of their garage, they had a bathroom, and inside that bathroom, they had this really cool little storage nook, which they were using to store suitcases, which is a great use of the space. Existing floor coating. And this kind of low-grade coating is a builder or a painter just rolling on some epoxy. This is a low-grade coating. You can see the crack here. There wasn't any professional crack repairs or concrete repairs done. They just rolled it on basically to change the color of the concrete to light gray. And then you could see this kind of yellowy hue. This is called ambering. So when the sun's UV rays hit this, it changes the color of the actual paint. Now, low quality products, ambering happens, but when you have a really premium, high quality epoxy, which I'll show you in a second, that does not happen. Here are some of my mock-ups for the systems that I wanted to install for them to help them achieve their goals. This window was really cool, and I wanted to honor this, build a really cool system around it. The reason I chose the right half of the garage instead of the left for the storage and the workbench, Mike, he's a hunter. He has some rifles. He wanted a space to be able to clean his rifles and prep for his hunts. On the left side, they had this gym, and they were using the space. They want to use it more, which was part of the impetus for the project. So I wanted to keep the gym over here. Obviously, if I were to move it to the other side, then that would add a friction point to actually, working out. When you're walking by it every single day, getting into and out of your cars, you're kind of reminded to work out. And then they had this really deep garage, long tire stop area. You can see this platform. We call this a tire stop. Long platform area where obviously they're not going to be parking back here. So door to the backyard. Here's the bathroom, and then this is inside their home. So again, the goals here were to transition into and out of the home very easily. They don't have a lot of time, very active family, set the garage up so they can grab the essential items and get in the car and get to where they're going, and then, honor and make the gym space more functional. We don't have too many during photos of this job, but my team always handles all of our clients' possessions. And when we're doing epoxy or painting or a renovation where we need the space empty, we'll provide a mobile storage unit and load that up. We'll put in front here the items that they plan to use throughout the project, because if we bury those back here, there's no way they're getting to them. So we give our clients the lock code so they can access their possessions and then load that thing such that they can easily get to what they need. Here's a photo of the existing coating. You can see the ambering here being ground off. In order to epoxy a floor, if there's an existing coating, we have to completely grind that coating off and get it down to bare concrete again. And there's a certain amount of head pressure and a certain roughness this concrete needs to be in order for epoxy to bond correctly, which is one of 3 factors that give an epoxy floor a long life. If we don't get the roughness right, if the hardness of the chemicals is not, commercial grade, and if the thickness of the floor, meaning the number of coats that are put on the floor, single coat floor, 2 coat floor, even 3 coat floors, all those influence how long the floor is going to last before it bubbles, peels, and eventually, starts failing. Here's one of our techs doing some crack repairs. Not a lot of crack repairs on this. It's a fairly new home in Westlake, fully renovated. And, when you have a fully renovated home, you obviously want the garage to be up to par, right? The garage is usually the last room left when people renovate, and we take a lot of pride in designing and providing garages that really match the aesthetic of inside the home. We want these spaces to be equally as beautiful as, the interior spaces. So you can see just a couple of crack repairs here, not much. Vacuum systems are important too. I know there's epoxy companies out there that don't vacuum up this dust, but it is carcinogenic, and we don't want people breathing that in or that stuff getting into our clients' homes. So once the floor is epoxied, you see this high gloss. You can see the texture in here. It's really like an orange peel texture. And then we put silica also to keep it anti-slip, because most garages are unconditioned, meaning there's no humidity or temperature control. So, when the ambient temperature is below the dew point and there's some moisture on here, they could be slick. So we offset that with some silica. And there's a variety of flake blends that one can choose for epoxy floor. We do 100% coverage. Sometimes we'll see some of these flakes just kind of scattered throughout some gray epoxy, for example. And those are usually the off-the-shelf DIY kits. But this, again, is another coating that thickens the floor. It can hide some of the blemishes in the concrete too. Maybe some waves when they poured the concrete. And then the flake blends also hide debris that blows in naturally, grass clippings, or if you pull the car in and park and it's, wet outside and then the water evaporates on the floor, the different color blends can kind of camouflage that so it looks clean longer. Okay, let me jump into some after photos. So this is after we had the cabinet system installed. Look at this. This just came out amazing. I patted myself on the back when I first saw this photo. And then Mike, when I designed the bench for him, it was important that, I did it such that he could put a rifle down here. This little section in the corner wasn't going to be enough, so that's why we did the corner system here. These are complicated and technical systems. Anybody who installs cabinets around a corner will tell you that these are not easy systems to install. And then you see how I didn't carry this upper row over? That was intentional. They didn't have enough possessions to really justify the additional cost of putting an upper row all the way across. And not doing so gives Mike the ability, if he's working with wood or something comes up where he needs to store just something long up here, he can, and it's not an eyesore sitting in the garage. These cabinets here all have sections, so we could fit storage bins and smaller possessions up here, but anything long, we would be unable to store it there. So it'd be either sitting on the floor underneath the cabinet system or in the middle of the garage, cluttering it up. One of the challenges we ran into was the existing lighting system. We didn't do a new lighting system here for a few reasons. One, the garage was in really good condition structurally, freshly painted. Drywall was great, no texture on the walls, no tape lines failing, no holes in the wall. Nothing needed to be repaired, so it would have just added to the budget. And then secondly, the rear of the garage where the gym is and then the workbench had ample lighting. The front of the garage is a different story, but the way the lighting was spaced cast this shadow from the tire stop down onto the main garage floor, which gave it the impression when it was dark outside and the lights were on that it was discolored, that something had gone wrong with the epoxy floor. That's not the case here. The truth of the matter is the lighting was hitting the floor diagonally and casting the shadow, which gave it this weird effect that, there was some discoloration there. So when we do a garage conversion and we're doing a full new lighting system, you can see the existing lights here. I mean, the drywall, everything's in perfect shape. And you see the ample lighting back here, but you do see the shadows up front. So where the garage door opens, there wasn't any lighting. Had we converted this into a full gym or a full playroom and done a new lighting system, the layout would have been a lot different. One, when you're using a space like this, and spending a lot of time in here, any kind of shadows, and if it's underlit, stresses the body. The eyes are constantly adjusting to the different light levels. You feel fatigued quicker. Same thing happens in offices, right? But we didn't put new lights in here. There's ample lighting back here for the use case. Same with the gym. Had this been a full conversion, I probably would have done a new light layout with recessed cans. I probably would have done 2 switches, one for the left side of the garage, one for the right side. Definitely put those on a dimmer too. Okay, let me show you some after photos. So once my team was finished organizing, accessorizing everything, here's how it looked. So imagine 2 cars parked here. You're in a rush. You can easily put your shoes on, grab the strollers, throw them in the car, and get out the door. Same thing with the workout space, right? We framed this window in the back here so that the slat wall system for the gym accessories matched the dimensions. Our interior design principles increase the aesthetics of the garage. So you could see these lines that we're carrying down. We don't want to be introducing new lines because subconsciously it gives the impression that there's clutter, right? So you can see how we carried the line over from the top of the door trim. We honored this line down here. Same thing with the height of this slat wall and that slat wall. So we do our best to really make sure these spaces, the color palettes too. I mean, you just see how light the cabinets are, the light gray slat wall, the light gray floor, everything looks light and bright and inviting. With the cabinet, the workbench, you can see here, this is plenty of space for a rifle. And then the corner system. We always include task lighting. That's important, especially when you're working on a project here and your back is turned to the ceiling lights. We want ample lighting here on the bench. We also put drawer liners in the cabinets. These are solid wood. And over time, as you open and close the drawers, if we didn't put these drawer liners in, all of this would just get all disorganized fast, which defeats the purpose of professional organizing. So the girls, they resized all the shelves here. They have a methodology, and we have principles that tell them, what the best location to put all these possessions is, based on how the client's using the space and what type of possession it is and how often those possessions are being used, which facilitates the space to stay organized. We don't want to do one of these projects and then 2 months later have the clients call us and say, hey, it's all disorganized again. We call that the DIA loop, do it again loop. A lot of homeowners find themselves in that situation where they're out in the garage wasting their weekends tidying it up, just like laundry or dishes. And we don't want that to happen. So our principles allow for these spaces to stay organized over an extended period of time. And this project we did in 2022. So 2 years ago, so summer of 24 now. And Mike called me the other day. He said, hey, we're using the garage. It's fantastic. We're working out in there a lot. We want to add some air conditioning. So when I walked in there, I have the garage door code. All of our clients give us the door code. So again, part of the experience we provide is like, we don't need a lot of your time. So with the garage door code, I was able to just text them and say, hey, I'm going to stop by. It's still organized, beautifully organized. Now you see these spots here, these dirty spots on the floor. They're pulling in the car when it's raining and, some of the dirt is just rolling off of the car and evaporating. This is not stained. A lot of epoxy floors stain, but the floors we install do not stain because they are non-porous. They're fully sealed. Some contractors, they don't put enough clear coat on these flake blends, which leaves the flakes exposed to the surface. And, when you have oil or dirt, that tire marks, those pull into the flakes and it stains the floor, which is not good. It's impossible to clean. And then subsequently, the whole floor needs to be ground off and redone again at a premium level. So all the flakes are sealed in and it's stain proof basically. But look how organized everything is. I mean, I was really impressed with the design on this and the fact that these clients are still using the space effectively. The systems we installed are evolving as their lives change and their possessions change. Look at this. Everything's still perfectly organized. It's great. This is exactly what I want to see. Here's one of the cabinets. Boom. Just how we left it 2 years ago. Amazing. And these are our principles at work, right? Like the system we installed here, the possessions we chose to put in there, how the client's using the space. This could use a little tidy up, but I mean, damn, that's really good for 2 years, right? I mean, imagine if all you had to do 2 years later was tidy up the top drawer of your cabinet. You would be making memories with your family instead of wasting time in the garage. So the split system here, we're going to go 3-ton because it's 1,200 square feet, 10-foot ceiling. They've got 4 cars in there. They've got a refrigerator, gym equipment, bodies in there working out. So there's a lot of heat loads that factor into the sizing of the split system. Seeing split systems are, 220 volt. We have to pull electricity off the main panel. The good news is here's the rear wall of the garage. This is that back door. The main panel's right here. They're doing some propane work. They already have a trench. My electrician is just going to trench over here and pop the split system on the back wall. We need to put that on an exterior wall. There will be a condenser out here. Sure, we could put it on the exterior wall on the far side of the house, but that's street facing. They want to put a sport court over there. That would just be an eyesore. We can also put that condenser unit on a bracket here, so it's up off the ground, but we've got plenty of space here. And another option is, putting conduit here on the facade of the home, but sometimes that just adds, it takes away from the aesthetic of the home. So when we have a situation like this, it's easy just to bury the 220. That's what we do. So you could see here, I mean, we could put the split system over here, but this is the street, and this side yard is, they want to use for a sport court and for fun. So if you need help in the Austin area with your garage, any in-home space, we're more than happy to take a look at our website, book an appointment with us, give us a shout. For more videos like this, like our YouTube channel, and hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes video.